Thank you all for being here. I'm going to turn this over to Grant, who, with his people, have been doing all this hard work over a significant period of time. This is the first two, but there could be many, many more. We'll work with communities to see if additional sites can be identified. But this, what AEDC refers to as mega sites, to let the world know if you need some super mega site, how far along these particular pieces are with regard to all the amenities that are necessary for the kind of huge project that requires something more than what is normal. We still work on all the other sites. We still work on all the other issues. We still work on a variety of options for economic development, industrial development, site location. But this is the first result of an inventory and an analysis and applications and submissions to identify what has been referred to as megasites. Having said that, I'll turn it over to Grant. Grant?
Thanks, Governor. AEDC has spent a considerable amount of time researching and identifying what we're calling advanced Arkansas sites, or megasites, that have the capability for rapid industrial development and meet AEDC's highest standards of quality. In order for Arkansas to stay competitive, we've got to identify these sites. We need to get the work done in advance, and we've got to begin to market them to to companies around the country and around the world to make sure that they're aware that Arkansas has the capability for rapid expansion and large-scale industrial development. As of today, we have designated 2 sites in the state of Arkansas as advanced Arkansas sites, one in the Little Rock metropolitan area, specifically in Saline County, the other one in West Memphis. The Little Rock site is 2,045 acres. The West Memphis site is 1,420 acres. We will be adding a new feature to our website at arkansasedc.com that will give site selectors a comprehensive look at these 2 sites. Details for each can be found, including nearby major employers, training institutions, workforce statistics in the area, cost of living information, and a whole lot more. It's the goal of this administration and the AEDC to continue identifying viable options to bring new economic growth to the state. We have been through an exhaustive process to identify these 2. The sites are under option. The preliminary engineering for extending utilities, rail, water and sewer, and other development necessities has been accomplished. These sites are ready to go and ready to market. I need to thank folks from both communities who have worked long and hard to make today a reality. West Memphis Mayor William Johnson, West Memphis Economic Development Director Ward Wimbish, Chairman of the West Memphis Public Facilities Board Herschel Owens, Chairman of the West Memphis Port Authority Marilyn Weaver, President of the West Memphis Chamber of Commerce Randy Sullivan, Executive Director of the West Memphis Chamber of Commerce Holmes Hammett, Crittenden County Judge Woody Wheelis, Representative Fred Smith, Representative Deborah Ferguson, who I don't see in the room, obviously, my friend the Senator, Keith Ingram, the volunteer chairman of Saline County Economic Development Commission, Shane Broadway. Director of the Saline County EDC, Eddie Black. And Managing Director of Timberland Investment Resources, Chris Kurth. And a bunch of other people who worked long and hard. Probably easier for me to begin taking questions than it is to read off the exhaustive list of things we've done to put this together.
Is Arkansas ahead or behind the curve on coming up with something like this?
Arkansas is probably catching up to its peers, particularly in the South, in identifying mega sites that are ready to go.
Probably were behind yesterday, but caught up.
There you go.
What about air pollution as a consideration?
I would say that the work done to identify issues of attainment has been done relative to these two sites.
But are you limited in what you can recruit?
I don't believe so.
Well, obviously, you'll take each one of those potentials on an individual basis to see whether or not they create attainment issues.
Right.
How significant an economic development would it be to land somebody for one of these mega sites?
Oh, it would be huge. Obviously, the targets for these sorts of sites are major industrial projects. Talking about things like auto plants.
Something needs more than 1,000 acres, obviously. That's one of the definitions.
So millions of square feet of manufacturing space and the concomitant employees that go along with something that large.
Did I teach you that word?
Yes, sir.
It's one of my favorite words.
Are there any of these in the pipeline? I mean, are negotiations ongoing? Do you think there's an announcement coming, or?
There are always negotiations ongoing.
Is there a goal on the number of these sites that you want to have, one in every county, or?
No, I think we want to make it clear that we don't want to preclude anybody else from being able to be in these sites. There were a number of folks that pursued the option or the opportunity, but for various reasons, either they didn't have options, legal options, or they didn't have all the engineering studies done, or for whatever reason, they have not yet been selected. That doesn't mean that the process is over. This could still be ongoing next week, next month, next year. You could add additional sites. We don't have an arbitrary cap or limit. By its very nature, these will obviously be fewer than other potential sites just because of their size and because of the requirements. What I think you should take away from this and what you should understand is not only will other communities be available or be encouraged to continue to work if they have the desire to have a mega site and then so be listed, but the overwhelming majority of the economic development activity will be on non-mega sites, which will continue, but we have not added this particular component to the array of marketing data. And so this is a new arrow in our quiver, if you will, of various marketing tools that exist. So while we select these two, there could be a third or a fourth within the year if a community qualifies or identifies. But at the same time, there are dozens of other sites that are still being marketed, utilized, and pursued as we speak, including in both of these existing communities for sites that are something other than their mega sites. So they'll continue to work on other sites for economic development as they simultaneously advertise this.
Is there a number of other sites in here or elsewhere, meaning Little Rock area or elsewhere that are in the pipeline right now?
There were a number of sites that were initially offered by communities as this process started. Over time and going through the process, as the governor indicated, getting the options, beginning to invest the money to do the engineering studies, sites fell by the wayside. We are hopeful that today's announcement will encourage other communities to continue to work the process to qualify their sites for inclusion on this list. And when I thanked the assembled multitudes this morning, it was because the communities have made significant investment in this process. It's not cheap, and it is time-consuming. And these two communities were the first two to step up and accomplish everything that needed to be done to warrant their sites being labeled Advanced Arkansas sites. But there are others out there. And the important thing is we get RFPs from companies on nearly a daily basis. And we choose which ones to pursue as often as not based on whether or not we qualify for what they're looking for. And this gives us the option to pursue some larger projects that in the past we weren't ready to pursue. A lot of this work came as the result of our looking for mega sites, for potential projects, and in one case a project that has been announced in Big River Steel, and realizing that we didn't have enough. And we needed communities to step up to the task of providing us larger sites, which these have done.
And that's the key, and Grant just mentioned it. A lot of credit goes to the communities. We can put out what we want to put out, but if the community doesn't do what they need to do, then it doesn't do any good for us to put stuff out. The communities did this. They're the ones that deserve the credit for being where they are. So the folks in Saline County and the folks in West Memphis are both deserving, I think, of a lot of respect and accolades from us, because they did all the work, they spent all the money, they spent all the time to try to meet the criteria that AEDC had set out that is a minimum for qualifying as an advanced site, mega site. We done?
How much money did these communities invest?
I can't answer that question. Do you all know how much money you invested to get to where you are on this?
No, it's a lot of time.
A lot of time.
Several hundred thousand.
Several hundred thousand.
We'll go with that.
They'll go with that.
Pretty good estimate.
Yeah.
All right. Thank y'all.